Ah, there we are.
I'm 107 years old, and there's a sentence that has lived longer in my chest than most of the people I loved. It's only 4 words, and I never said them when it mattered. I don't tell this story because I think it will fix anything. Nothing about it can be fixed now. At my age, you don't talk to feel better. You talk because the silence has had its turn. Most mornings I wake before the sun, not because I want to, but because sleep doesn't stay long anymore. The house is quiet in a way that feels permanent. I sit in the same chair by the window, and the light comes in slowly, like it's careful with me. There are days when my mind is clear and days when it wanders, but that memory, it never wanders, it waits. People think regret arrives like a storm. In my life, it was more like dust settling on everything I loved, so slowly I didn't notice the weight of it. I was not a cruel man. I worked, I paid my bills, I showed up where I was expected. If you had asked anyone back then, they would have called me dependable, steady, and I believed that was enough. The apology I never made wasn't dramatic. There was no shouting, no slammed doors, no moment that felt like a breaking point. That's the part that still confuses me. How something so ordinary could follow me for nearly a century. It was a Tuesday, I think, or maybe it only feels like a Tuesday because nothing about it seemed important at the time. I was in my early 40s, busy in the way people are when they believe life is still stretching out ahead of them. Work filled my days, and by the time I got home, I mostly wanted quiet. I told myself that was normal. That was what being responsible looked like. She was standing in the kitchen, not crying, not angry, just tired in a way I didn't recognize then. She said something small. I don't even remember the exact words. It was about something I had promised and forgotten. A dinner, I think, or a visit. Something that mattered to her and felt minor to me. I remember putting my keys down. I remember the sound of the refrigerator humming. I remember thinking, I'll deal with this later. I'm too tired right now. And that was it. No explosion, no final line, just a moment that passed like any other. I told myself there would be time to smooth it over. There's always time, I thought. That was the quiet lie that shaped more of my life than I understood. We went to bed that night without saying much. It didn't feel like the beginning of anything, just another ordinary day folding into the next. If you had told me then that a simple "I'm sorry" would become the heaviest thing I'd ever carry, I would have smiled politely and gone back to what I was doing. Because at 40, you don't believe small moments decide the shape of the rest of your life. You believe life is made of the big ones. I know better now. In the weeks after that night, nothing looked broken from the outside. We still shared meals, still talked about bills, errands, the small mechanics of living together. If there was distance, it was the kind you can ignore when you're busy enough. I noticed she stopped reminding me of things. At the time, I thought it was a kindness. Now, I think it was a kind of giving up. Life kept moving in its steady rhythm. Work asked more of me, and I gave it willingly. It felt important to be needed, to be the one people relied on. I wore that feeling like proof I was doing life correctly. At home, the conversations grew shorter, not cold, just thinner,
like a song you've heard so many times it becomes background noise. There were small chances to say it, little openings where a softer man might have paused and reached across the table. A quiet evening when she looked at me a second longer than usual. A morning when she asked if I'd be home early, and I said, "I'll try," already knowing I wouldn't. I told myself apologies were for bigger mistakes, for things you couldn't overlook. What I didn't understand was that the size of a wound isn't measured by the person who caused it. Years passed in a way that felt productive. We bought a different house, friends came and went, our hair thinned, our routines hardened. Sometimes I would sense something unspoken between us, like a sentence that had lost its ending. But life was full, and I assumed fullness meant everything important was still intact. There's a strange comfort in believing relationships can absorb anything, like they're built to survive neglect, the way old furniture survives scratches. I mistook endurance for forgiveness. One evening, this must have been 15 years later, we were sitting in the living room. The television was on, but neither of us was watching. She said, very gently, "We don't talk the way we used to." I remember nodding, as if I agreed in theory, but not really stepping into what she meant. I said something about being tired, about life being busy. Reasonable words, harmless words. They changed nothing. Looking back, that was another doorway, not dramatic, just open enough. And again, I walked past it. You don't feel the cost while you're paying it slowly. It doesn't hurt in one place. It spreads out, becomes the air you breathe. By the time I began to notice the quiet had weight, it already belonged to us. We were polite, kind even, but something warm had cooled, and neither of us knew how to bring it back. I sometimes wonder if she was waiting, not for grand gestures, just for recognition, for me to say I saw the small hurt I had brushed aside all those years ago. But I never said it, and after enough time passes, silence starts to feel permanent, like part of the structure of the house. Then came the winter that changed everything. The winter when time, which had always felt generous, suddenly showed its edges. That winter was colder than most, or maybe it only feels that way because of what it carried. She started getting tired more easily, little things at first, an afternoon nap that stretched longer than usual, a cough that didn't quite leave. We told ourselves it was nothing serious. At our age, you learn to accept small discomforts as part of the landscape. Neither of us liked making a fuss. The doctor's appointment was meant to be routine. I remember sitting in the waiting room, flipping through a magazine without reading a word. There's a particular smell to those places, clean but not comforting. When the doctor spoke, he used calm words, measured words, but I saw the shift in her face before I understood the meaning. Illness changes the rhythm of a house. Days become organized around medications, appointments, small acts of care. I was there more. I listened more. And for the first time in years, I noticed how fragile time actually is. There were moments when I thought I should say it now, standing by the sink together, helping her into bed, watching her rest in the afternoon light. The words would rise up, almost reach my mouth, and then I would tell myself there would be a better moment, a calmer moment, a moment when it wouldn't feel so heavy. I had spent a lifetime believing timing mattered, that the right words needed the right setting. It never occurred to me that the only thing they really needed was courage. Her world grew smaller, room by room. The house, once full of ordinary noise, became careful and quiet. We spoke softly, as if loud voices might break something. One night she woke and asked me to sit with her. No television, no distractions, just the two of us in the dim light. We talked about small things, people we hadn't seen in years, a trip we once took that neither of us remembered the same way. I kept thinking, say it now. This is the moment you've been waiting for. But I was afraid of opening something I didn't know how to close. So I stayed silent, hoping there would be another night. There wasn't. She was gone on a quiet morning while the sun was just beginning to reach the window. No dramatic last words, just a stillness that filled the room in a way sound never could. After the funeral, people said the usual kind words, that we had a long life together, that I had been a good husband. I nodded, because it was easier than explaining how incomplete those words felt. The house changed after that, not just because she wasn't there, but because every room seemed to hold the echo of conversations we never finished. Silence became something I could hear. I would replay that Tuesday in my mind, then the years after, all the ordinary chances that passed without me noticing they were chances at all. You can live a full life and still leave something essential undone. That's what no one tells you. The apology didn't disappear with her. It stayed, looking for somewhere to go, and there's nowhere for it now. At 107, you understand that time doesn't take everything loudly. Some things it takes so gently you only realize they're gone when you reach for them. If you're listening to me, I'm not asking you to fix your life or change who you are. I don't have instructions. I only have the weight of a sentence that never found its moment. There are people we assume will always understand us, even without words. Sometimes they do. But sometimes understanding is exactly what those words would have given them. If this story leaves you thinking about someone, a conversation you've been postponing, a feeling you've been setting aside, just sit with that thought for a while. You don't have to do anything dramatic. Just don't assume there's endless time. These days, my world is smaller. Mornings by the window, evenings that arrive earlier than they used to. I don't feel panic about the end. When you reach this age, you make a kind of quiet peace with it. But I do feel the shape of what I carried here with me. 4 words, simple, human, still unsaid in the only place they truly mattered. And now, when the light fades and the house settles into its nightly quiet, I sometimes whisper them anyway, not because I think she can hear, but because I finally understand what they were worth. I'm sorry.